Happy Sunday. Welcome to another exciting adventure of Andrew and Lucas exploring.
We are out here exploring without Dora.
Dora got left at home.
Oh gosh.
So today we're going to be talking about why Charlotte is terribly designed, and specifically for anybody that's thinking about moving here or thinking about buying a home, whether you already live here or not. We've helped a lot of people to move to Charlotte, make Charlotte home. And today we're going to unpack, I think, 7 different ways that it has been terribly designed, and specifically how you can either compensate for that or how the city is working to compensate for that, and just give you a better set of expectations for how to find a place to call home that you really love. And Charlotte's pretty great. So I'd say this is more an optimization than anything, but
Yeah.
I am biased.
Buckle up and strap in your grandpa. There's gonna be a bumpy ride.
Don't want Grandpa flying out of the open top.
Yeah.
We're in a convertible today, I guess. All right, so Charlotte built a downtown you can get lost in, and then wrapped it in a concrete moat. So Charlotte's pretty hard to navigate. Honestly, I kind of hate that hook. Let's try it again. So the uptown or downtown, depending on what you call it, here we call it uptown. The way Charlotte built uptown is a lot of skyscrapers and a lot of concrete, and it is something that it's very easy to get lost in, and there's a lot of one-ways and stuff. It's kind of hard to navigate. So let's go to sharing the map here, because this will help.
There's a lot of streets down here where you can. It looks like it's the right way, but it will be the wrong way. So don't get caught up.
Don't get it twisted.
It will go down.
So Charlotte divides uptown into 4 wards, and also, just to put it on the map, there's the 485 loop. If we go to, let's say, Mecklenburg County, just to show you, this is the county. It's not even that large of a county. It's a pretty small county, county size speaking. Why is Burger King the preview for Mecklenburg County?
Mecklenburg County runs on Burger King.
I think I've seen a Burger King maybe twice ever. Here.
Yeah, I've seen a couple. I love their fries.
So anyways, Mecklenburg County, you have the 485 loop around the city, and then inside of there, all of this is like 20 minutes out to the outer ring, if even that, like from uptown out. It's a very compact city, honestly, especially for how big it really is. And so in the very, very center, you got all your skyscrapers and whatnot. And here we got 4 wards. So let's say uptown Charlotte. So that's the exact center of the city, as everybody considers it, is East Trade and South Tryon, or rather not South, it's Trade and Tryon are at the intersection. And then around that you got First Ward, not First Watch, also great food. I love their potatoes, breakfast potatoes. Okay, you can kind of see the outline there. So that's First Ward, and it goes clockwise. So then this is Second Ward. Then Third Ward. I'm throwing my mouse, getting angry. Really grinds my gears that there's people out there who don't believe in Charlotte.
That's crazy to me, man. It's literally right now. There's somebody watching this video right now
That doesn't believe in Charlotte. Niche reference, if you like.
It breaks my heart.
DJ Khaled. DJ Khaled. So it's the 4 different wards. And the split, again, in the very center of Trade and Tryon, you got North Tryon, South Tryon, West Trade, East Trade, and then the 277 connects 77, 74, and it's like this little mini loop almost right around uptown Charlotte. And so there's 4.4 mile freeway ring is what 277 is, and gives a little bit better access to uptown for the highways that go, you got 85 going northeast to kind of west, and then 77 going straight north to south, and then 485 looping around the entire thing. Especially 277 getting on, like this intersection here is absolutely god awful. We call it the war zone.
Yeah, what was it? Exit 3A or something like that. That was from that video back in the day. Literally a war zone trying to get over there.
It's so iconic that somebody made a video game that's like where the.
Can we pull up? No, I want to say, can we pull up the game?
I wonder if I'll try to pull it up.
That's funny.
So let me see if I can pull this up. You want to talk about it while I try to find this?
Yeah,
I can't talk
They created a video game of this showing the war zone of trying to merge in this crazy exit, and it's an exit in and on ramp at the same time, which is just like bananas. So you have the people that's going so fast and trying to come up from going slow to going fast and getting off and getting on at the same time. You're gonna get into an accident.
And there's like, you can see here, it's not just one split. It's like each direction splits off into like 4 different directions you can go.
It is literally crazy. Like, it kind of reminds me, well, to me, Independence is crazy because it's like 50 miles an hour and then you got freaking stores right off the road, which is like...
Here it is on Steam.
You got it on Steam or you... Yes. That's literally it. Look. Yeah, TV.
This is
literally how it looks. Oh my god. Like, this looks funny. It kind of looks like Invader Zim a little bit, but like, nah, it's really like this. Oh my gosh. And the police are.
the funniest part of this is like actually the layout. So
Right there is crazy. And then you gotta get over. You gotta get over because it's like right there.
this is like honestly,
This is classic,
it's
man.
tragic how real it is. Stuff flying everywhere.
Exit 3A.
It is a video game, so it's not truly that bad, but like,
Yeah, that was a great representation. Come down here, take exit 3A, then come back to this video. Let me know what you think.
so why is it this way? So the city got boxed in because during the 1750s, it was a trading path, like a trading route path crossroads. And so the wards were drawn in the 1800s for voting districts. And the loop was finished in 1988, going around the actual, again, the outside, which tore through some dense, historically black neighborhoods. And so it's very, it's kind of like, especially like where they laid out 277 is a little bit weird just because there's, you got stuff on both sides of it. It's just hard to, like, there's not that many places. Well, maybe I shouldn't say there's not that many places you can cross across. It's just like you have to walk through kind of like borderline concrete jungle to get from South End to Uptown, or from Uptown to South End, or vice versa, going to Midtown or Elizabeth, or going to north to like Noda area or Villa Heights or Commonwealth, or what would that technically be here? Would that be Villa Heights? No. What is this? Oh, this would be Optimus Park. I don't know why it's not showing. Hold on. There we are, Optimus Park.
Oh yeah, yep, there it is.
So the rail trail pedestrian bridge over I-277 is under construction right now, estimated to be finished out this year, and CDOT is studying the 6.5 mile loop, and NCDOT released 6 reconnection concepts in May 2026. And all of them, everybody here hates. I like some of them. I think they gotta, because it's dense, right? There's not going to be a truly elegant solution here, especially to accommodate the city's growth. Yeah. And you could just ignore that and not do anything, but that's just going to make the traffic and the cost of living here worse. So
you can't ignore problems. You can't run away. They're gonna compound. You know, for anyone that's watching who was running away from something, let's go face it. Mm-hmm. just get it over with, man.
They also talked about putting a cap over the Belk Freeway, but they've been talking about it for over 10 years. It is still not funded yet, so we'll see if that ever happens. And I will say it's not all bad. The biggest problem is once you're inside of the loop in actual Uptown, it's very compact, super walkable. A lot of my friends live there. I will probably move into actual Uptown at some point because I do like it. However, capping the freeway could turn the issues that are already there, you know, kind of the scar, if you will, into I can't breathe, apparently. I need to take my allergy meds. Signature Park, adding land and not just removing road. So I wonder if we can find also the Belk, where is it? Belk Freeway cap. I don't want to disable my ad blocker. Hold on, we're getting you some juicy info. Hold on. A path to get traffic moving on I-77. Yeah, let's just go ahead and read this. Interstate 77 toll lanes are dead. I'm talking about the new project that they were discussing. So, in a stunning decision last week, Charlotte Regional Transportation Planning Organization voted to rescind support for the $3.2 billion toll lane project after intense pressure from West Charlotte residents and toll lane opponents. The NCDOT announced toll lanes will be removed from the state's transportation improvement program because there's no viable financial path to building them without partnering with a private company. I will say that's been super celebrated locally. I cannot tell you how many Instagram reels I've seen of people just going wild for that. And so the city's vote doesn't mean that the Department of Transportation can't improve and widen I-77 over the next decade. Transit advocates have pushed for more multimodal solutions. You have people out of cars and unclogged, which honestly I support. Everybody needs to get on their feet or get on a bike or get on their feet or get on some wheels and get moving.
Get moving. The boots are made for walking.
The issue of Charlotte in motion. We'll look at how that scale-back widening would work, and we'll examine 2 other highway projects overcame the financial limitations that the Department of Transportation has said made toll lanes the only option in Charlotte. Because they do roads aren't cheap, and they gotta fund it somehow.
Yeah.
Corridor cap. Oh, this is what it was. This is the juicy juice. The juicy juice. Corridor cap in North Carolina limits how much money can be devoted to a single highway project over a 5-year period, and the cap is roughly $600 million. The idea is to make sure no single project soaks up all the state's money, promoting fairness in budget allocations. The Department of Transportation side of the cap is the reason it needed a private company to build the toll lanes in Charlotte, which could have been estimated to cost $3.2 billion or more than $4 billion in future dollars when the highway is finished. The private company could front most of the construction costs and would be paid back with toll revenue over the next 50 years. It's the same playbook that the state used for the I-77 toll lanes north of Uptown. There are 2 other massive highway projects underway in North Carolina whose budgets go well beyond the $600 million cap, however, and neither is being built with toll lanes. That's actually interesting. This is news. This is news. One is a 10-mile widening of I-85 in Gaston County that could cost $1.5 billion. And if y'all have not driven that section, let me pull it up real quick just for if you're not familiar. This section right here, it's like immediately west of 485, that 10 miles right there. So it's like from not quite it basically Gastonia to right there, maybe a little bit more than that. It is horrendous. It is absolutely horrendous because of the interchange there backs up so bad.
Yeah, really, really bad.
This should have been widened like 5 years ago. Anyways, Department of Transportation divided the I-85 project into 3 segments, and each was considered to be a separate project, and each is receiving corridor capped money. Construction will start this year and last until 2033. That I did not know. Why is that gonna... That's like 7 years, bro.
Wow.
And it's... Traffic is a B word right now over there. And by that I mean it is bad. I don't know where your mind went. In Asheville, the I-26 connector has been on again, off again project for decades. It's now moving forward at a cost of $1.8 billion. Oh, I know that's over kind of by like Candler, Canton. I was just there this week with a few buddies, and it's like mostly open, and it's helped a ton. The widening that was also super overdue. Department of Transportation spokesperson for Buncombe County, that's Asheville if you're not here, it's Asheville, says the project was able to access more money because it's technically 2 highway corridors, the I-26 and the I-240. Total project cost is more than $600 for each corridor. That's also interesting. It would take longer to build than the toll lanes, but the upside was the state would pay for all of it. Project's so expensive only because it's so complex. Do they have any diagrams to this? Because that's really what I want to see. NCDOT data shows most of the busiest I-77 interchanges south of Uptown are in that 6-mile stretch, and just 5% of drivers go the distance between the South Carolina line and Uptown. About 30% take I-485, 17% take I-277 or US 74, which just to show you again, this is 77 or 74 right here, going southeast. And 12% take exits at Woodlawn, Tryon, and Tyvola. Which honestly, they need to widen the road down there too, and this is why, like, the growth has been a lot, and so it just kind of is what it is. But let's see, where's the nation's for Tyvola? Tyvola is the Costco exit. That's how I remember things. The important stuff. The important stuff. So the Costco exit, and then Woodlawn and Tryon. Let's see, Woodlawn and Tryon, which are Woodlawn and Tryon. Where is that? Woodlawn, exit I-77. Oh, it's because it shows up as Charlotte Route 4. Okay, so it is the Costco exit and then the ones like right before that. Which those also, that whole stretch there needs widened because it like merges down 2 lanes at once and backs up really bad. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's such a cute puppy. These are the most random photos. But look, it's a puppy. Just knocked out.
Big boy.
Yeah.
Big girl.
Big day. Probably went to the park or something. So basically they are trying, because of the budget cap, they keep talking about the Belk Freeway, and it's a really complex project, and hopefully this is going to get to be no longer messed up. But every time the NCDOT or the Charlotte DOT come up with solutions, all the locals shoot it down. And at some point, somebody's going to just have to, I guess, get some cojones and make a executive decision, because otherwise, we're never going to get to full agreement, because there's trade-offs on all of these, right? So we're both going to definitely make more content on that coming up. But we don't want to get too zoomed in on this. So to finish out talking about the uptown maze and the issues with uptown transportation. The pros of uptown, the things that are, because it's not all bad. It is super compact. It is a very walkable grid with very, very good access, especially like a lot of people get around just on like the electric scooters very comfortably. You don't really need more than that if you're in uptown. Like my friends that live in uptown only use their cars maybe 1 or 2 times a week. And so you still use a car, but especially if you got an e-scooter, you don't need more than that. If they do end up, depending on the configuration, there's been talks of also if they redo the freeway, there may actually be, because they were talking about like stacking lanes on top of each other, we might end up actually adding land to some of the signature parks in the area. And they also were talking about cutting into one of the parks, which also got shut down. So the parks are safe for now, but there still is not a solution on the traffic. So anyway, so that is the most iconic off-ramps of uptown Charlotte, and one of the most infamous roads in the entire region of this part of the country. However, let's talk about Independence Boulevard, which is the expressway that was never actually finished. So, Independence. Let me show you where that's at. Independence Boulevard. And this is the 7474 bypass. So, Independence Boulevard has been some version of under construction longer than most Charlotteans have been Charlotteans. I just realized I had said that I was going to show this to you, and I never showed it to you. I'm sorry, beautiful people. So, Independence Boulevard, the expressway that was never finished. Again, you got 74 that's coming from 277. And when you see this, it really looks and feels, let me show you the street view. It looks and feels, if you're not familiar, a lot like a real highway in many ways. It's funny that it dropped me at the leasing center of some random apartment building because that is not what I was trying to go for. Let's try that again. Right, boom, there. Like that really looks and feels and smells a lot like a highway.
Yeah.
But as you go down, especially, where's a good example of this? Like, it's kind of weird because there's like random businesses and stuff here, and you can just like get on and off. Like, it was almost Echo Park, so there's a big car dealership here. Like, it's weird because like the left lane, people will be going 65, 70, and then the right lane, people will be going like 25.
Crazy.
It's crazy. So it doesn't feel really like a highway. It also doesn't feel like a street. It's just like a half-converted expressway. And so there still are businesses and frontage roads that don't go anywhere and like exits that aren't really full exits. And we also call it a war zone because, again, you have people over here going like 70 and people over here. Like, I feel uncomfortable sometimes driving on it.
I've been driving trucks for a while, and that was the most uncomfortable road. Anytime I had to drive on there with the truck in my regular car, because you can see it right there, people are at a full stop and they're turning onto a road with a speed limit of 50 miles an hour, so you know people are going at least 60.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you gotta catch up from 0 to 60 real quick, and everybody has the most quick cars with the fast accelerations, and people can't drive, so next thing you know, you pull on the highway, you get rear-ended. That has happened so many times on Independence. Like, I don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are the stores right there off the street? That is crazy to me. Why is the speed limit 50 miles?
Yep.
It is wild. Be careful on that.
And so, how did it get stuck halfway? Well, it opened in 1946 as Charlotte's first urban expressway, and the full conversion began in the late 80s, but it was never finished. And again, you can literally see they just have these like permanent orange barrels up for God knows why. And then they also have this like, have you ever seen the center lanes open?
Ever.
I've never seen, it's supposed to be some sort of like, maybe a tollway, maybe extra like super express lane. I don't even know what they're for.
Yeah, I thought they were like a median for the construction workers to do something to continue their work or something, maybe.
But I've never seen construction actually happening there.
Yeah, that part.
I don't know, man. So one of the things that has been a discussion was that NCDOT was talking about widening it and then adding overpasses to help kill some of the traffic lights as you get, because there still are traffic lights on this as you get down towards Matthews. And then the Silver Line light rail expansion, which is planned, it is funded, is going to be targeting phase A by 2036, which is supposed to be the real fix. So I don't know if they're talking about then putting through the middle lane, then putting the light rail through that, maybe. I got no idea, honestly. And so it does move an enormous amount of traffic daily. The bus only lanes already exist on some stretches, which are, it's not that, it's this part. I really don't understand this. And the Silver Line could finally give the corridor a second life, so to speak, as it begins to have more high density transportation through the area. So. One unfinished road is bad. However, a whole city built around cars could be even worse. I'm not sure if I love that transition, but
Built around a car.
Charlotte's unfinished projects are pretty bad. However, an entire city that is built around cars is not the most efficient, is not as efficient as it could be. So let's talk about how Charlotte became built for cars and also the zoning that made this a long-term policy. Because Charlotte isn't that hard to walk in many areas, and so, but for decades, it was practically illegal to plan the city in any other way. You want to take this one and just kind of riff on it?
Yeah, I got you. How is Charlotte pretty much car dependent? They got a walking score about 26, which is about 49th of the most walkable big city. So 76% of people drive alone, and 3.4 take the bus. And the transit is not really that good because you only have Uptown and South End supports life without a car. So have you ever seen my videos? I'm always saying one of my favorite phrases I got from my dad is you need a car like you need the blood in your veins down here. If you don't got a car, you are in trouble. And how much of that was kind of locked in by the law? Well, before 2023, 84% of residential land was zoned for single family detached only. So that blocks out duplexes, triplexes, and many kind of middle housing, But why is it like this? Well, the post-war car era growth sprawled by annexation and decades of large lots and single zone use. That's pretty much what's causing it. And the fix and when it could possibly be changing, there is a 2040 plan, past 6 to 5 in 2021 and UDO in 2023. And
the Universal Developmental Ordinance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They ended single family only zoning, and duplex and triplexes are now allowed by right. And you want to add better the bus and the $19.4 billion transit tax, which goes live July 1st, 2026. That's next month. But it's a
2 weeks.
2 weeks. But it's oh my gosh. Time is going by so fast, man. Oh boy. But that right there is a 20 to 30 year turnaround, which is a crazy long time. But it's not really, too bad, It's just, for the sprawling downside, it's not really all a sprawling downside. Because you got more space, trees, and affordability, versus New York, Boston, or DC. Shout out New York's Knicks finally winning the championship. All the diehard fans is there. Don't worry, Cowboy fans, you're next. But the reform already pretty much passed, and some pockets like South End, Noda, and Dilworth are genuinely walkable. So we do have some walkable places. It's just that Gotta come out your pocket, you know? It costs money to walk in this town. So,
That's funny.
so the obvious fix is to give people other options, but option A is a train.
And before we double tap into some of the old transit, like the old trains that were never built, and then the new ones that are, actually related to that. So they passed a new sales tax increase from 7.25% to 8.25%.
Damn. Okay.
Which some people have been complaining about that because the increase in cost of living. It is true. It will increase cost on goods and services by 1%. However, the majority of sales, like transactions that occur in Charlotte, are from like tourism. And so the majority of the funding for railroads and buses then is going to actually be indirectly paid by tourism. So it'll be a slight increase for locals, but the majority of it is going to be then funded by people who are just here for the weekend to watch the Knicks championship.
That happens a lot. A lot down here, Charlotte. Hornets.
We're building a light rail, and we're gonna make New York pay for it.
They have a lot of experience, man. They got a whole bunch of trains down there, so.
So the tax increase, 40% is going to rail, 40% is going to road improvements, and then 20% is for buses, expanding service hours, frequency on rail lines, etc. So, so transit that never arrived. Charlotte's had the light rail for 18 years, but it still only goes one way, one path. And so if you're not familiar, the light rail goes from right up here near University, down through Uptown, down to then it ends somewhere around just short of Pineville or right in Pineville. And so it, like a lot of people do use it, and it is very useful for anybody along that corridor, and it was the first step in the right direction. However, it still only is basically one rail line. There's also, so that's the Lynx Blue line from northeast to southwest, and there's nothing east to west. I shouldn't say nothing. There's almost nothing because there's a short. There's the it's the orange line. It's the trolleys. Let's see. Charlotte trolley map. Okay, this is weird because it shows it on an angle and it's not sideways. It is east to west, but it's like northwest to southeast. So, because it goes along trade. So that whole thing, instead of it being left-right, is actually like this. So it goes from up here, kind of over, not quite the Fillmore, but northwest down to the southeast, and then it goes over towards Elizabeth. And then the expansion that they're talking about for the light rail then is going, well, they're going to do an expansion. It's the Gold Line, So the Gold Line is going to expand and keep going more to the southeast. And more to the northwest. And then they also were talking about the Silver Line, which is going to be going from the airport and I think it was Belmont, right? Belmont to then the airport to then Uptown and then down southeast in like towards Matthews. And then the Red Line is the other expansion they're talking about, which will be going from Uptown straight north along 77 all the way up to Davidson and I think up to Mooresville eventually. Wow. So anyways, but what about buses? Because a lot of people ask, how's the bus service? Well, ridership has consistently been falling. It's down 75% from the peak in 2014. And it is the steepest drop of ridership for bus systems among any of the 50 largest U.S. City bus systems. And so why are we seeing that? Well, The bus network was built to funnel 9 to 5 commuters into Uptown, and especially with COVID and everything in 2020, 2021, etc., a lot of the work from home becoming more popular. Like you just don't see as many commuters now as you used to. And even for the people that, because most people still work in office, but a lot of people only work in office 2 days a week. So that right there is a 60% decrease for anybody that was already working in the office.
Facts.
And then you pair that with the fact that Charlotte already built the highest demand, like the rail corridor, or the Blue Line, which was the highest demand project for the city. Because of that, then also a lot of people started riding the light rail instead of the bus system along, because that was the highest traffic route. And so how and when are we going to get this fixed? Well, we did get funding for the Red Line, Silver Line, the Gold Line streetcar extension project, and then also a Blue Line extension to take it the last little distance from like right up here down to Pineville, and then also I think it's going to take it further north eventually beyond University City. The Better Bus program is going to put about $520 million into 89 new bus routes, 2,000 new bus stops and shelters, and increase the stop frequency on routes to 15 minutes. That'll cover 60% of riders. And then also, one of the things I saw actually this past weekend when I was in Uptown was Cat's Micro, which is like almost like a local Uber type like shuttle system. So for people that don't live directly on one of those public transit routes, they can get a like
Shuttle to the
yeah. So like from certain hubs, they just run them out to like
that's super cool.
Yeah, so there's like 5, 6, 7 people might get in a van and then just go get dropped off.
Yeah, that's really good for our elderlies and people who can't walk, you know?
Mm-hmm. And so Cat's Micro is already live. It's been picking up steam, picking up more riders since its launch in February of last year. And again, like they are doing stuff. It's not all bad. But is any of it actually working? Well, the Blue Line has been a huge success. It does 27,700 trips a day. And it also created the boom of investment in South End that has created like one of the coolest areas, honestly, anywhere in the country. Like, there's like the rail trails along here. This is just like I think one of the coolest areas in the country, and you can see this is where the light rail is. We shoot some of our hooks over there, or like the openings to the videos, I should say. And again, some of like this is probably the most iconic intersection in South End. Right here, you got Shake Shack. Shout out to the worker that recognized me from YouTube and gave me a free voucher. I appreciate you. Love me some Shake Shack. I'll plug you guys.
I'm next.
And it's very walkable. There's a lot of bars around here. There's a lot of stuff to do, and it's just a really fun area. And it's there's a certain energy to it where everybody's there to do something and build something, and it's really cool.
On the weekends, that Jenny's ice cream right there on the map is
popping.
There's kids out there with their family, people out on dates.
Families out there with their kids.
Family out there with their families. Yeah, it's lit. Very safe.
Little Timmy, it's your turn to pay for ice cream and rent.
You've been mowing the lawn? Yeah. Thought you were going to keep that money? Nah. Welcome to America. Taxes.
So the bus system overhaul is funded and partly live. They're in the process of doing a redesign before they start expanding, which follows a similar blueprint that has already been proven out in Houston and Richmond, Virginia. And so while the transit has emptied out, or at least I should say, while buses have emptied out, Charlotte was busy selling off its highways, and so this is probably one of the more controversial and lesser known pieces of Charlotte lore, and also one that has a lot of rumors that are not true too, which I find amusing. But we'll get into all of that. So, Charlotte sold one of the biggest freeways in the area to a private company, and took over 25 years to finish another one of them. So, yeah, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I got you. So, why are the I-77 lanes so resented, really? Well, for the first time in North Carolina history, the state handed the highways build, operate, maintain to a private firm. It was actually called Lexus Lanes, and deep mistrust. What was I say? Deep
Distrust.
Deep distrust.
Yeah, mistrust.
Yeah,
distrust.
mistrust, yeah.
Potato, tomato.
Tomato. Up to 177 North. And, you know, what kind of took us so long was that the Outer Belt was planned in the 1980s and not finished until 2015, which is about 25 years with a gap in that whole loop. Now, there is a reason why...
For the I-85 project.
Oh, I'm sorry,
yeah.
for the I-85 project.
And I've seen so many comments of people that, so I guess Lexus Lanes is some subsidiary of some company that I think is owned by like a Spanish venture capital group. I don't really understand why people hate on I-77 because it got done faster than it was supposed to. But
It's just, I don't understand why there's always so many accidents on there. Like when I was driving every morning, if I didn't make it past there by like 7 o'clock, accident. Every single time. I don't know why. There's nothing wrong with the roads. The roads look good to me. It's just, I don't know.
people driving like
People just driving
doo-doo.
crazy.
Yeah.
Real bad. So, but yeah, you know, for the reason why it's like this, you know, there was a 2014 Centra deal. The state really didn't have no money back then. So it signed
shout out 2009.
Exactly. So it signed away 50 years with a steep cancellation penalties. And I-45 was starved by piecemeal, year-to-year funding and segmented by segment and horse trading. It's kind of crazy when you think about that. Wow.
I don't know what that means exactly, but let's try that again. I have no idea what that means. So the I-485, let me show the map because that'll make this make more sense. Because this actually had such a huge impact on the city. So the north half of it got done relatively early, right? The south half of it, so I think it was back in the 80s, the north half of it got all done, 80s and 90s. But then the south half of it didn't get done, like basically from Mint Hill, didn't get connected around up to the airport until like 15 years ago.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it was like, it wasn't completed until 2015.
Wow.
Like they were still building it out until 2015, which is why when you look at Ballantyne, you look at Steel Creek, you look at the Palisades, so much of the land there, you're like, wow, it feels so brand new. And you look at the years that those homes were built, it was all the early 2000s. And the reason for that is because you couldn't get there very easily. There wasn't there was so much undeveloped land on Charlotte's South Side until very, very recently because of that.
Yeah, that 485 loop, that circle makes a big difference down here. Like, North Carolina is one of those first places I've seen that actually use that system. You know, in Connecticut, it's always, you know, up or down or left or right. You know, but that circle, it's just so freaking big down here. You need that to be able to kind of like get around. It's going to take you so long. So
I always call it the spider web because it really is. It looks like a spider web. You got the circle, you got then all the lines shooting out, and so it's like it is relatively easy to be able to get onto where you need to go and then go through one of the interchanges and then get on, you know, another piece of the spider web and then you're where you got to go.
it's actually pretty efficient. You know what I mean?
And that, honestly, that's like one of my favorite things about the city. You go to Uptown, okay, sure, this is like rows and columns, right? But you get outside of that one really dense area and it's all these weird little curvy roads and stuff and creeks and like little parks and places that like all this land that can never be developed, where it's just trees and stuff. It's so pretty.
Yeah, it's super pretty. It's very nice integration. Just be putting roundabouts places and just putting stuff places, but it works.
Yep.
It works.
So there was a proposal for I-77 South to add a set of toll lanes going down this way. And that was rejected in 2023. And so now NCDOT is planning a $3.2 billion elevated express lanes project to get through some of the density which we kind of talked about this earlier, but to get through the density of Uptown and then start going south all the way down to South Carolina. There's been talk about contracting for that, and I think doing all the bidding next year in 2027, which is why they've been trying to figure out what we actually want to do. But people keep shooting down every proposal, so we'll see what happens with that. With the goal of actually building and finishing out the project by the early 2030s. There are also express lanes on I-485 South, so we just love our toll lanes here, I guess. Because there's the free lanes, but then there's also the toll lanes. So I-485 South then is just completed this like a few months ago.
Oh, wow.
And people are starting to use them some. I will say, okay, maybe this is a hot take. I think having the option to spend a few bucks to then literally have a fast pass option is like pretty cool, because you're able to still take anywhere you want, and if you want to get there faster, you can.
You don't have to pay. You know what I mean? You can stay in the regular if you want to, but
On all of these.
Yeah.
Because like you go to Dallas, Texas, the toll lanes that they have there, one, it's all toll lanes, and so there's no fast lane.
Oh, wow.
You're paying tolls and you're driving like 10 miles an hour.
Damn, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Shout out Texas.
So, reverse shout out Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out Charlotte for not being Texas.
I made a face when I said that.
So the toll lanes move traffic, and you can't opt out again. So like you always have the option to move faster, and then also the I-485 project is just finished. It does work, and the new lanes came without a private operator this time, and so the money is actually going to the municipality and to the state. So I wonder what the split is on that. Maybe we can do some research after this and find out exactly where the money for the I-485 South toll lanes are going. But the highways are going to cost you more than just money here. So let's talk about what some of the other impacts have been, specifically as Charlotte already had some neighborhoods that were very dense and designed and walkable, and then what actually happened to those, if you want to go for it.
So the Charlotte, they already pretty much had a perfectly designed and walkable neighborhood, but why did they destroy it in the name of renewal? The place was called Brooklyn in 2nd Ward. It was thriving, walkable, mixed use, predominantly black neighborhood, and it was razed and never rebuilt. 1,480 structures, 1,000 families, and 200 plus businesses were removed from 1960 to 1977, which is crazy. Thank you for that.
Let me make it bigger. We got our notes on the screen.
Yeah.
But we're getting old over here.
Yeah, I got my glasses with me. Got my glasses, youngin. But why was it really destroyed? So in 1960 to 70s, they had a urban renewal, where residents were told that they could return once affordable housing was built. And then guess what? No homes were ever built. Sounds about history. So, the fix of anything, being done to kind of amend what's going on. Brooklyn Village, they had about 17 acres tribute of redevelopment, which is like Peebles, selected in 2016, repeatedly delayed. It was, in planning, but it was always delayed. In 2025, it's pivoted to 250 affordable units in phase 1, and construction in late 2025, which early 2026 at the earliest. Though delays could still pretty much cancel it out if possible. So, it's not all bad. The honest other side of this is it's kind of hard it's hard to soften something like this. But today's plan is centered around affordable housing, and Brooklyn's loss directly shaped Charlotte's current anti-displacement policy. So things happen. They try to make policies to make sure it doesn't happen again, and we will see what happened. But some of that damage is history, and some of it is still happening. At 45 miles an hour.
I don't know what that means either.
I guess that's a segue into the next speed.
Stroads?
Roads that kill. Stroads.
That's a crazy transition.
Toaster strudels.
Also, Mon said that we can just keep riffing on, like, if we don't like a transition, just keep going until we get it how we like.
Oh, okay.
So what would you say?
Now, some of that damage is history, but some of it is still happening. At 45 miles an hour. Well, that's actually pretty straight. You know what I mean?
I don't know what that means though.
I think we're going into like road kills. So I guess I don't know. Some people are gonna
we're gonna find out.
We're gonna find out. Someone's gonna die. Streets need a body.
The streets are for the streets. Okay, so talking about dangerous roads, there's a handful of streets in Charlotte that are responsible for a lot of the accidents and a lot of the fatalities, the fatal accidents. So what is actually going on here? Well, to give you an idea, because this is one of the things I found very interesting moving here, is like auto insurance rates in North Carolina, relatively cheap, like out of the entire country, one of the cheaper areas. And we also have a relatively high accident rate, which then begs the question, like, how is that? That sounds...
Yeah, counterintuitive.
Yeah, which some of that I think is just that our insurance like the North Carolina Insurance Regulatory Commission, is probably doing a pretty good job. But also, I think it's because, one of the factors could also be that, for the most part, Charlotte and North Carolina in general, despite having a high accident rate, is actually mostly pretty safe. So there's just 13% of... I got the hiccups. Just 13% of my hiccups. 13% of streets cause over 80% of the serious and or fatal crashes. And in 2025, traffic deaths rose by 9%. Pedestrians and cyclists are 1.5% of crashes, but 29% of the deaths. And so just be careful out there. Look both ways before you're crossing the street, and don't cross. Why did the chicken get to the other across the road? To get to the other side. So make sure you get to the other side.
And ride your bikes on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I will say, okay, maybe this is unfair of me, but sometimes I've seen people doing stuff on bicycles and whatnot, and pedestrians doing things where I'm like, you are, like, I see people wearing all black, walking in the road with the flow of traffic at night. Like,
in the rain.
Yeah, like, I have very good night vision, so I see them. But also, there's so many times where I've swerved around somebody, and then I got people in the car, and they're like, "Why'd you swerve?" Because nobody saw the person.
Yeah.
So I'm out here saving lives, I guess.
Oh God, getting chastised for it. People calling him a bad driver now. He's out here saving lives, Crazy.
So because we have some very wide, fast traffic arteries. Stroads? I've never heard that. What's a strode?
It's a road from Harry Potter. It's a road.
Dangerous, inefficient urban design that merges a street and a road. a high-speed route between destinations. I didn't know that was like a difference.
I thought that was a typo.
It attempts to do both, but fails at each, resulting in high crash rates, heavy traffic, poor walkability. So really, this is just a design flaw from civil engineers.
Wow. In Soviet Russia, Strodes walk you. I'm kidding.
That's crazy.
That joke.
Love some Family Guy. So they were built for speed through places that people also walk, and many are state maintained. Speeding, improper operation drove 60% of the worst crashes because people just are crazy as hell behind the wheel here.
Yeah, man.
You got to be a defensive driver, and that's like, I know I definitely have been accused of being a little bit of a crazy driver, but it's because I'm like to the max of a defensive driver. Of like, I'm not like, if I gotta speed a little bit, or I gotta slam on my brakes a little bit to make sure I'm not in somebody's blind spot, or that I'm like around somebody that's driving crazy, I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to keep me safe and keep, and knock on wood, never had any kind of accident, but
Yeah, I just bought me a new dash cam. Just so I could
I'm about to get it, and I always thought dash cams were crazy, and I'm about to get one too.
I thought so too. I'm like, yeah, nah, especially down here.
Because there's been some times where I'm like, if I told where I've like almost been in an accident, and because I'm a defensive driver, I've prevented probably 5 or 6 accidents.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a couple of those times too where I'm like, if I had gotten in an accident, if I did not have dash cam footage, nobody would have believed what I said the other person did.
Mm-hmm.
Because what they did was crazy. Anyways, even the New Yorkers that come down here, and because everybody's like, oh, people in New York, especially driving out to Long Island, crazy as hell. Even when they come down here, they're like, damn, everybody drives crazy.
Yeah, bro. I was a professional truck driver, and driving through New York and driving through here is way more dangerous here because this doesn't make any sense.
Because you got like Independence, where the left lane, everybody's going 60, 70 miles an hour. Right lane, everybody's going like 20, 25, or like 5 miles an hour, making a hard right turn into a business parking lot. Or merging out of that. Yeah, don't get me started.
Yeah, that's a whole rabbit hole.
So the city is actually being proactive about this. They started a new program called Vision Zero, which got a 20 million in funding from a 2024 city bond, which is driving 521 new streetlight installations, 82 speed limit cuts, or like speed limit corridor rezoning, and 39 safer crossings. So I think they're redesigning intersections starting in 2025. And 40% of the new transportation tax is earmarked for roads and safety. And so again, I mean, we looked at that a little bit earlier. That was 40% of it. What was it? 16.1 billion. So it's like 4 billion, right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Or wait, that'd be 25%. No, so it's like 6 billion, I think.
Yeah.
Let's do math. What is that? 16.1 times 0.4 would be.
There you go.
And that's why you need a realtor that can do math.
Mm-hmm.
It'd save you $6.44 billion on your closing disclosure.
You didn't even change the Geico. Look at that. Fuck you, Gecko.
So the problems we got here, like, are they fixable? I would say yes. As an engineer, like, the good thing is not that everything's dangerous, it's that there are certain areas that have issues. And again, it's only 13% of the roads are responsible for almost all of the serious accidents and fatalities. And we already have funding and a clear plan in place to address where we've had consistent issues. And so I'm excited to see, especially over the next couple of years, as they're doing projects last year and this year and the next couple of years to redesign all these intersections. I think we're going to see all of the serious accident rates start to go down.
I believe it.
And so the problem here is not just people, it's the design that is costing us Let me try that again. Um, oh, it's not just people that design is costing. So, Charlotte's design has cost a loss of life, but not only human life. It's also costing us other things too. And so that brings us to our next section, which is talking about one of the best parts of Charlotte. Because Charlotte calls itself the city of trees. However, the trees have been in the losing side of this redesign proposition recently. And so, what specifically? Well, is Charlotte really losing its tree canopy? Somewhat. So it went from being 49% covered in trees, which think about that. It's a lot of tree cover.
Yeah,
49% of the city's covered. You can't even find a tree in Texas.
yeah,
Can't
yeah.
even- outside of Central Park, you can't find a tree in New York either.
Facts.
And now, so between 2012 and 2026, it went from 49% down to 47%, which was a net loss of roughly 250,000 trees during that time window.
Wow.
And honestly, I haven't really noticed a difference, but you do see it when you see developments go up.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, well, we'll get to that in a second, but the city is not completely passive about this. They have been proactively working on this. But why is it shrinking? Rapid development, rapidly clearing the land. Tree save ordinances generally protects only 10% of a site, and advocates say that it can't keep up. And so how are they going to fix this? When are they going to fix this? The 50 by 50 goal that was set in 2011 is being walked back. One consultant estimates that when Charlotte hits full build out, even with current policies, we're going to be at 41% tree coverage. And the new Universal Developmental Ordinance tree rules and Trees Charlotte plantings continue, but the goal is slipping. Now, this is like actually from a real estate perspective, two very interesting things. So the Universal Developmental Ordinance, what that was, and if you're an investor in any way, this is a huge opportunity because nobody's really been talking about this. All these neighborhoods, around Uptown have really low density because by default for a long time, Charlotte was zoned as single family only for the entire city. You really couldn't build a duplex or a triplex without going through a whole bunch of hoops to get the zoning approved, and there still was no guarantee that it was ever going to get approved. And I will say, again, like you go to some of my favorite areas, like some of the like neighborhoods here in Dilworth where you got this whole park and they got a playground and everything. You go across the street and there's these beautiful little bungalows and old craftsman style homes. Like these sort of neighborhoods are fantastic, right? The problem is that as the city has grown, even in neighborhoods where it might not look exactly like this and you could actually put in a duplex or something similar, it just hasn't ever been done. And so in order to continue building, if you aren't allowing people to increase the density inside of existing structures, you're gonna have to build new structures, which means that all these beautiful trees here that you're seeing, this canopy, at some point is gonna have to get knocked down because they gotta put new houses somewhere if you're increasing the density to actually give people a place to live, right? And so the Universal Developmental Ordinance, because if you just, again, like take this random house as an example here, if you just were to then divide this into one side is one unit, the other side is another unit, all of a sudden now you have two complete single family dwellings in the same footprint, and you're not gonna have to knock down any trees. You're able to save more of the canopy. So the UDO, even though it's primarily a logistical play for the city, has a huge impact on, again, helping to retain, because like I love this. It's so green. This is, mind you, this was from December of 2025, and like look how lush this is in the middle of December.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna see this during any time of the year in Texas or a lot of places, honestly. Like I grew up in Indiana. It does not look this green in Indiana anytime after October. I believe that. And I will say also, so one of my buddies that I go to the gym with, he is currently building out a duplex actually right now, and he also is opening a coffee shop. So he has a few different permits. He has commercial permits and then also residential permits in with the city. And so I've been, every time we go to the gym and sit in the sauna, I'm always like, Lath, catch me up to speed, brother. How's it going? And so he would shout out, we are going to do when he opens the coffee shop, it's Karakhouse coffee. And so I think it's Turkish style coffee, if I remember. We'll do a feature of that because it's going to be really cool. He showed me the designs for the inside. I'm super excited. If you like coffee, this is going to be a great addition to the Charlotte area, but I digress. So in order to remove trees, they have a tax that the city charges. I think it's $200 per inch of circumference to remove the tree, and you have to replace the tree. So it's a financial discouragement to remove any of the mature trees. And on top of that, and we might want to fact check the $200 per inch because I'm pretty sure that's what he said, but we'll double check that before we make the actual final video. But it was something like that because it was going to be about, I remember they were going to remove 2 trees, and I want to say it was $12,000, or no, it was $20,000 in tax plus then another $10,000 for the actual labor to get the trees removed. So wow. It was going to be 30 grand to remove 2 trees.
Jeez.
Which is a very strong incentive to keep mature trees, which is, again, one of the reasons why you see this beautiful tree canopy here. On top of that, they still had to replace the trees after they removed the mature trees, which was part of how they force, as development happens in the city, that you're going to retain this beautiful tree canopy. Again, this is in December. That's insane that this is how green and how, just how beautiful the area is even in December. It's one of the things I love about Charlotte. So, and I need to do some research on it. I think the money that they get from tearing out trees goes to planting more trees too, for the parks and stuff.
That's super cool.
So, so after all of it, the maze, the moat, the missing trains, what does a badly designed city actually mean for you? I have no idea. Let's try that again. So, the man, the myth, the maze. So, after all of it, so even though the city of trees is still figuring out how to keep that title, I don't know. How should we transition it? Maybe talking about
This is just the outro, right?
Yeah.
To the close.
For the final pitch and whatnot. So while Charlotte still is figuring out how to keep trees here, Charlotte's still figuring out how to move people around the city and build new highways. Still figuring out how to do life as a very rapidly growing city. I'm curious, drop down in the comments below, what does a poorly designed city actually mean for you? What are the things that stood out as and I genuinely want to know this, what are the things that you're most concerned about, you want to hear more about in terms of some of these downsides and projects that Charlotte is working to address? Comment it below, please, and Andrew and I are going to make a ton of videos on that stuff. We went super in depth in this video. We're going to make a more condensed version of this probably this next week sometime. And really anything, especially on some of the stories about the I-77 redesign and cutting into parks or expanding parks, that sort of stuff. I know a lot of people have been very concerned about that. We're very concerned about it too because we do want to see Charlotte continue to grow and thrive. And again, there's some things that the city has done incredibly well, honestly, over the last 10 to 15 years. And there also are some things that it could have done a lot better. And we are here for the long haul. We're not here to just sell houses. As much as we love helping people move here and make it home, we are here to also help make this city a great home for us and for all the people that have become part of the Living in Charlotte team family.
Yeah, we love it here.
And so anything that concerns y'all also concerns us. We do read every single comment and do our best to respond either in video or what have you. And if we have huge news, by the way. We have huge news. We did a redesign of the Charlotte Areas quiz. I don't think the link is updated yet, so you might need to come back to this in a little bit in order to actually see the redesign. The new quiz is insane, and actually, let me see if I can pull it up. So the new quiz, it scores all the different areas, including on drive time, if you want to be within a certain amount of drive time to different areas, and it will layer that on top of a quick budget calculation to show you what are the areas that actually have the type of house that you're looking for with proximity to work, uptown, nature, things to do. If you want to be out in the country and you want to, 3 acres, you don't want to be near anybody, it will optimize for that. If you want to be in the middle of uptown, you want to be somewhere super walkable with a coffee shop out your front door, all that sort of stuff, it will optimize for that too. And I'm going to go ahead and after the live stream, I'll update the QR code. But right now, I'm going to see if I can pull up. Where is this? I'm going to pull up the project here. It is on, let's see, for sale. I'll drop the link if nobody's still live. Okay, we'll just do it for the replay. Go ahead, scan the QR code. We love you. We appreciate you. Make Charlotte home. As always, until next time, I'm Lucas Roller.
And I'm Andrew Wallen.
And we are going to help you make Charlotte home. Or don't. But we still love you either way.
Peace.
Have a great weekend,